Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome back to another Fellowship of Fan stream. And yes, we have now made it to our episode 8 theories and predictions. This is the last one. We have made it so far already. And yeah, what a what a roller coaster it has been over this whole season so far. So much to discuss and of course to take in. So great to see everyone in the live chat. Hello, hello, hello there. And of course, joining me as always, we have Ulmo. Hello, my friend. Great to have you on.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
No worries. And of course, returning for the second time, we are great to have Jason here. Hello, my friend.
Hey, I love that Ulmo doesn't have his camera on because he's keeping the mystery, being the Lord of Waters,
There
of
we
what the
go.
Lord of
That's
Waters
right.
actually looks like. Because
That's
if he
right.
turned his
That's right.
camera on, he would be this water creature and it would blow our minds and we wouldn't be able to function. We would just be in awe of this form made entirely of water.
Yeah,
Definitely,
exactly.
definitely. There you go. That's high words from Tom Bombadil himself. Look at us all cosplaying.
Yeah.
Uh, but
I'm still waiting for that call.
definitely, definitely. And also, just want to say a quick little shout out. You can see live on X. We already have 149 people watching live, so appreciate that.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, you can see right there. It's just on the screen. So yeah, thank you for that. As always, appreciate the amount of people that join on Twitter, despite the platform being a really hit and miss. Um, but aside from all that, episode 8, the finale. I think, of course, after this, we're going to have another 2 year wait, but I'm very excited for it. I think it's going to be, of course, after the last episode, there was lots of discussion, but this one, genuinely, I think it's going to be very good. I think a lot of people will like it. I think do get excited for it because I feel like the show, it does end up delivering with the season finale. So yeah, that's all I'd say on that. But yeah, definitely very, very excited. So before you even get into it, yeah, Uma, how are you feeling going into episode 8? And let us know in the live chat as well.
I'm hyped. I wanna know where it's gonna end and how things are gonna wrap up, and obviously where the Annatar and the Celebrimbor storyline is gonna go.
Indeed, that's been the central thing for this whole season. So definitely seeing that wrapped up in some sort of way, and we might even have some hints as to where that's going to go. We'll definitely get into that. So yes, good point, Jason. On to you.
Yeah. So first of all, I mean, I know you already sort of did an episode 7 review, but that was the best episode I have seen, far and away, like my absolute favorite episode.
Mhm.
And so I know that they always said that there was going to be a two-parter.
Yeah.
Why am I hearing myself? But basically, I feel like if that was part one and this is part two, I'm amped up. I'm ready. The only thing that I'm worried about is obviously the fate of Brimby. I think we all know in the books what happens to Brimby, and I'm kind of worried for Adar too. Because I don't know. There's definitely stakes happening here, and the stakes are highest for the characters that they've made up. We know Sauron survives. Uh, it would be really interesting to see who they carry on to season 3 at this point for the original characters of the show.
Definitely, and of course, one thing I'll even mirror there is, in my opinion, Sam Hazeldine as Adar has been probably one of, if not one of the best performances in this season. And alongside him is, of course, the guy on screen, but also Charles Edwards as Celebrimbor. But unfortunately, I feel like those two characters, I feel like it makes sense for them. If some people had to die, if Celebrimbor and Adar do, that would be again really, really heartbreaking. So yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Also, what's your thoughts? Should we start off? Actually, if I can, actually even pull it up here. We of course see this is the promo for number 8. and I think it was shown. So actually, it might not be in this one then. Actually, there we go. We see this man. We see what's in his hand right here. Any predictions as to what this could lead to, mate?
Oh boy, I hope it's not a banner.
Looks like the beginning of one to me. But the first thing I would mention here is actually, Uma, I'll put it on to you. What do you think? Because who do you spot in the bottom left corner of this image?
Oh yeah, that's our boy. He doesn't look really that good anymore. I think it's pretty. Is it? Are those arrows around him? Yeah, I think so. So it's pretty lore accurate so far, at least. I'm not gonna spoil for the ones that haven't read the books and stuff like that, but it's so far so good regarding the lore, I think.
Definitely. And I think as Cinemax says here, it's a banner.
It's a banner.
Yep. Not too far off that. So yes. Jason, I'll put this on to you then, this question from Mickey. Do you think it would be a bit rushed if we lose both? Or what do you think? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, being completely neutral here, yeah, I think we are going to lose both. And I don't have any insider info on that or anything. This is just my hunch. It was kind of my hunch at the beginning of the season. And here's why I think Arondir is safe and Adar is not. Celebrimbor, that's pretty well documented in the books. But the reason why I think that Adar isn't safe is because he's the leader of the orcs, and we know if we know from the books and the lore that, you know, Sauron basically comes to power here, it seems only natural that he's going to slay Adar and then subvert the orcs to his will. I mean, that's what I feel like they're leading up to. And the reason why I think Arondir is safe is because he is still operating within he's not like the leader. He's not leading up to something. Maybe he's going to take out Adar. I don't know. I mean, clearly he wants to, and clearly that's leading to that. So does he take out Adar? Does Sauron take out Adar? Do they both take him out? I don't know. Adar's got a lot of targets on his back right now. So.
Definitely, I agree. And I feel like he's the one who's basically led everything together currently. So it makes sense, as of course, 1 second, I even get on screen here. He's of course, the architect of what's happened in Eregion. So maybe it's a thing of actions have consequences, because, you know, people were hinting to him that he might be falling into a trap. So do you think he does end up falling into Sauron's trap, Ulmo? What do you think?
I think regarding, I mean, this, I know this is not like very Tolkien-ish, but Tolkien has a very strict way of seeing things when it comes to vendetta and like hatred and stuff like that, because everyone in the lore that has bad things towards people, they end up getting karma pretty hard. You know, I'm not gonna dive on every single person that has gotten to that, but you know, Theanor is a very good example with that, and his sons as well.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I like that little connection you made as well. Yeah. Oh, I've seen a very interesting theory in chat. What do you think about Gluck killing? Well, we did know he was starting to get a bit frustrated with Adar, but Jason, what do you think of that? Do you think it could come from his own children?
I mean, look, we're seeing a lot of the directors and the showrunners are showing us a lot of side eye from Gluck to Adar every time he makes a decision that he doesn't agree with. And we know that Gluck is the father of a small orc baby that he wants to protect. So that could also be a factor there. And going on what Olmo was saying, you know, if they're going to stick to sort of the Tolkienian, if you will, way of vendettas, you're absolutely right. I mean, I remember, the very first time I read the Silmarillion, when there's only a couple of Feanor sons left, and it's been like 6,000 years or something, and they find a Silmaril has been discovered, and they're like, nope, we're sticking to our vow. It's been 6,000 years, and our dad's dead, and all of our brothers are dead, but nope, we're sticking to that vow. And of course, it brings death and destruction to them. So, and the first time I'm reading, I'm going, really? After all this time, you're still sticking to that? Like you're actually going to do that? So if it's a really good point that Olmo made about vendettas and Tolkien's sort of doom that is brought upon anybody with a vendetta. So, but that also, but if we stick with that logic, doesn't that also mean that Arondir may be in trouble here? So now I'm like kind of second guessing this, because Arondir has a vendetta as well, but maybe it's more justified than Adar's. Who knows? We'll find out.
Who knows? It might end up having to go both ways. So we'll have to see with that. But another interesting theory, or leading on to this, in a previous shot, it showed holding a Dar sword. How does he get it? Which is a very good point, which I can quickly again show right here. I think it's at the start here. Somewhere here, you get to see, he's got, that's Adar's sword right there that he's fighting Galadriel with. So does that mean Adar's no more?
That's not good news.
Given that, that's his sword. That's Adar's sword. So do you think first of all, thank you to the Lady Knight Niffer, sorry if I said your name in chat, for finding this out. But I think that is, unfortunately, potentially a hint of what's to come for Adar. And maybe, but there's more theories about this Glug thing, which I'm finding very, very interesting. Because again, as you mentioned earlier, there was hatred. Start to see more of a hatred. So, Uma, what do you think of this potential theory?
It's interesting. I mean, we've already talked about it in one of the episodes where they were talking about the parallel between the first episode where they killed Adar and then they killed Sauron, sorry, and then the other side of the coin where Adar is gonna get slain by his own kin or his kids or children as he calls them. So I can see the appeal into that. In my opinion, I would much rather prefer if Adar lives to have like another purpose. I'm not saying that he has like such a huge purpose in the story outside of this, but what if, because we were talking about the sword, right? What if the sword actually, Glug, for example, steals the swords, or that Adar is like shoved, I mean, he's pushed away from his children, and he has to find a way outside of things, and he has to like exile himself, so to speak, and maybe he might even end up like being an ally of Galadriel. Who knows? Like that's actually a possibility at the end of the day. I think that could be interesting, but there's a chance that he dies as well.
Oh, I think you're muted, Harry.
I think I did this like 4 times in the last one. So but thank you. And what I was going to say is that if this is the last we're going to see of him, it'll be a sad, sad miss. Because again, terrific actor and character. I think we're potentially starting to see, the good, not good side, but like starting to feel even that connection between Galadriel and Adar as well. And more people are mentioning this switching of allegiance almost. Oh, Mr. TNT mentions it was someone's birthday this week, none other than Charles Edwards. So hopefully maybe this is not his birthday present right here, but it's
oh man, that's rough.
That's right, I had to do it. Lost Shire Hobbit says, I think this is quite relevant to the picture on screen. Still a mess from last week. I don't know how I'm going to cope this week as well. So yes, a lot to come. And Yeah, should we let's probably so we've discussed Adar. Actually, one more theory I wanted to mention was that we know that Adar has Nenya. So I've seen a lot of views on Twitter that Adar might put on Nenya, and you might see him as like his old elven self. Oh my god. As literally just mentioned here a second later, yeah, because Galadriel has to get it back at some point because in the fight with Thingy, Sauron, she has Nenya. So do you think he puts it on? What do you think of that theory, Jason, that he puts on, we see like the original Adar? Would you like that?
That would be really cool. I would actually love to see that. The thing I loved about the Adar character from season 1 and in season 2, and I agree with you, Sam Hazeldine has done an awesome job continuing the spirit of that character that Joseph Malway started. The thing I love about him is, we're finally getting to see the hint of a first age elf on screen. And that would be icing on the cake, I think, for me as a fan, where if you put Nenya on and we see sort of like a spirit version of him as an elf before he was corrupted, before he was taken and changed, that would be really neat. I hope we do get to see that.
Yeah, I'm even thinking now, I feel like that does make sense, because he's gonna want to make. Because if you get a really cool little ring like that, I'm sure you're gonna want to try it on at one point. And we know it does heal a lot of wounds. So, so yes, time will tell. Time will tell again with that. But yeah, now we have to get on to the main thing. Actually, quickly before we move on, episode 8 is called Shadow and Flame, and I think as this person mentions here. I think something or someone will be returning if it is Shadow and Flame. And I think it might be in relation to the Balrog. And one thing you can see from here is we see King Durin delving. He unlocks something here. Do you think this is him finally going to the depths of Khazad-dûm, and then they find, of course, the reason why episode 8 is called Shadow and Flame, which is the Balrog. Ulmo, do you think we are going to see the Balrog again in episode 8 due to during the third carrying on to dig deep?
We have seen it in the trailer, I think, snippets.
Yep.
So I'm guessing that yes. Plus, we need a proper excuse as to why uh during the fourth didn't get the chance to show up and help his friends. So I'm gonna take a wild guess and say yes. In my theory, this episode is gonna be split like 70-30, 70 before the Annatar Celebrimbor storyline, because that still needs to be wrapped up, and 30% is gonna be with the Durins and Khazad-dûm.
Yeah. No, definitely. And even here you can say the text here he's saying is, "Oh, take off the whole hand." Like, definitely something's going on and leading him to, yeah. So yeah, no, I agree. Jason, your thoughts? Do you think we'll see the Balrog then? As Uber mentioned, we have seen it in a trailer, so it's only one
Right.
episode left.
Yeah, I think we'll see it, and I think that's what's going to take out Durin 3.
Mhm.
Also, there's going to be a lot. Does anyone know the running time of the episode yet?
It's over an hour and 5 minutes.
Okay, hour and 5. Because obviously we also saw the Stranger again, so we know we'll be seeing some rune stuff. Then we saw I don't know, young Saruman. I don't know what to call that guy, the Dark Wizard. But so we'll see a little bit of that storyline too. So it'll be interesting to see how they cut around it and what they do. And it is still my hope that we see at some point a dwarf company show up to help at the end, and maybe they're going to be too late. Obviously, Eregion is going to fall. But maybe after he deals with this, he still shows up with Elrond, or maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But I mean, for every dwarf fan out there, I think we all would love to see a really cool army of dwarves marching over a hill at some point. So hopefully we get to see that this season.
I think somewhere in this, literally the first shot of the episode 8 preview. Do you
It
think
does
this
hint
is
at it.
dwarves
Mm.
right here? Do you think this is dwarves coming to not save the day but save Elrond and Gil-galad? You see them right there, and here you go, they're fighting here. But could this be the dwarves coming to save the day? It looks like them in stature. So maybe Jason. Of course, you can't confirm it just on this shot alone, but it looks like there is an army that's coming there that does not look like orcs, which are coming to potentially save the day in some way. So maybe, Jason, you might get what you were hoping for. All the dwarf fans were
I
hoping for,
hope so.
which could be very exciting. I know we get more battle shots here. Can we spot any dwarves? That looks like, I know it's really, really low res, but that potentially looks like one to me because of the helmet.
Could be.
Yep. Can we see anything?
Once again,
here?
shout out to the production designers and costume designers and weapon designers for this show. It's just so incredibly great.
No, definitely, I agreed, indeed. And all the chat saying yes, the dwarves are coming. Yes, so yep, looks like. But the big thing is, will Durin be with them? Because surely someone has to be in Khazad-dûm. So we'll see if Durin ends up coming. So, yep, and a really interesting thing there. Because again, look at this whole thing going on this far. And I think someone mentioned, do we think King Durin III, if we're going to see a Balrog, we're going to see King Durin III, do we think he's going to survive? What do you guys think? Jason, I'll start off with you. What do you think?
I think we might lose him too. I think to move the story along, the Balrog shows up. I think it consumes him. If he doesn't do it this episode, it'll be a setup for season 3.
Yeah.
But and maybe the ring gets consumed by the Balrog.
That's a very and is that what then makes, the Balrog even more powerful to come and destroy the rest? The Balrog wants the rest of the rings. That'd be quite a funny little link there. But or could this be the way we find out he's called Durin's Bane? I saw a few of that as well.
Right.
If he ends up killing Durin, which would be, would be something there. So Umo, your thoughts? Do you think Durin will survive?
Which one, the third or the fourth?
The third, even though there should only be one.
No, I don't think he will. I mean, when I'm saying that, I don't mean necessarily this episode, but I mean in general purpose, he's not gonna survive. And him dying to the Balrog would make a lot of sense as to why he's gonna be called Durin's Bane. Yeah, of course, I know that it's not very lore accurate and it's not the same Durin and all that stuff, but I think that's already outside of the door and it's outside of the realm of what's possible because of the time compression and the runtime that they have.
Definitely. So yeah, again, you mentioned the time constraints there affecting potentially what could be done. But looks like we have another guest. We have hello, my friend.
Strider.
Hey everybody. Back home, no more awful Palantir connection across the wilderness. I'm back in Rivendell on my own home network, and I hope the signal is well now.
Yep, we can see you again in lovely, lovely HD, which is perfect. So yeah, great to have you back, my friend. And
you were out protecting the north border of the Shire.
Yeah, like someone's got to do that. Some people have the slacky, so someone's got to pick it up.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Definitely. Good. We'd actually, do you want to weigh in on this question? Mickey Mouse asked, do you think they will save the Doors of Durin from Runes of Eregion? It would be a nice moment, especially if the dwarves aid the elves. So that's if they are still in, the Doors of Durin are still in Eregion, I guess.
That is a good question. That is a very good question. I don't know. I would be. I think that would be a cool way to kind of like honor Celebrimbor and Narvi's friendship. I think that would be a pretty nice way to just make like another point of it because we haven't seen it enough. But I think I'm afraid that we might just see it done kind of off screen, since we really
Yeah.
saw this like maybe like 1.5 scene throughout the season. So I feel like they might not have time for that, but it would be a really cool thing to do. I hope you're right. Also, hello everybody in the chat. Yeah, no more Palantir issues. I have
No.
paid my Palantir tax. Yes.
Mac asks, Harry, did you see episode 8? All I'd say is I think episode 8 has the best opening out of either season 1 or season 2 so far. So yeah, in my opinion, I really, really liked episode 8. I thought it was a very strong episode. So yeah, that's all I'll say on that. But again, these three gentlemen have not, so we're going to get straight back into theories and predictions. So, and also I don't get in trouble as well. So right there. And I feel like we've still got so much to talk about. And the next thing is, we know we're definitely in the next episode going to be finding out who the stranger is. So for one last time, it's been 4 years. Who do you guys think the stranger is? We're going to find his identity in episode 8. By the way, this is not a leak. This is what Patrick McKay said. So, yes, what do you guys think? And while doing that, it looks like we have another guest. Shiv, hello, my friend.
Hello.
Yep.
Hey.
You've come on a very important discussion point, who the stranger is. So, yeah, we'll start with Jason, then we'll go Strider, Shiv, and then Ulmo.
Before I give my answer, I noticed Jimmy Mack made a couple of really good points that I wanted to that I agree with, and I wanted to point out. So one, he said there might not be enough time to have the full battle of Eregion, the revealing of the stranger, and battling a Balrog. So maybe there won't be a Balrog battle. And he also pointed out, don't be wed. There it is. Don't wed themselves to the banner. It might not be a banner. That would be gruesome for TV. I agree. If indeed this is supposed to be a PG-13-ish show, I just don't see how they could make a human body, or elf body, excuse me, but if two viewers at home, a humanoid body, turning that into a banner. That might be breaking some sort of television rule. I don't know. Maybe there's a way they could do it without us seeing too much of it. We only see it for a second or two. I don't know, but yeah, maybe it will be more symbolic, or maybe they'll show it. I don't know. Only Harry knows, apparently. But we'll all find out in a few hours anyway.
And the Valor.
Yeah. So now to answer your question, I feel like at this point, yes, that's Gandalf, and the Dark Wizard is Saruman, unless it's a complete fake out. And it could be a complete fake out. You never know. But that's what I think they're going, especially considering, they have the callbacks they've done to the Peter Jackson movies, etc., with certain lines and things like that. So I'm thinking it's Gandalf, but that's my.
But no, let's do what you think and what you hope it is. Now, what do you hope it to be?
Well, I mean, here's the thing: if we were in season 1, I would hope that it was one of the two blue wizards, right? Yeah. That we've like Palandro and the other guy. But now that it's gone this far, I mean, maybe it's. I would hope that it's Radagast, but I've changed my philosophy about this show so many times that I don't even really have any hope as to who he is anymore. I'm just more figuring out where the showrunners are going with it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
Like, I'm enjoying the show more now from watching it just as a show than like nitpicking every single lore deviation, which I did in season 1. And now with season 2, I'm like, okay, well, they've established the sort of TV lore now, and so I'm just enjoying it and having fun watching it. So with all that in mind, I don't have any hope as that it's who I might have hoped it would be while watching season 1. My theory is that it's outside shot that it's Radagast, but I think it's going to be Gandalf and Saruman.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And that's a very good overview of that. For Strider, almost Chiv, I'm guessing is for the rest of you. Will it be you guys think it's Gandalf and hope it's the Blue Wizard, or does anybody have something different to that? Or is
Yeah,
that
I think
what
that's basically
everybody's?
that. Yeah, the hope was always that we are going to see the two blue wizards, but at this point, if it's not Gandalf, it's like, what were you doing? Like with all these callbacks, with all these sentences, with all everything that has happened so far, it's like it has to be Gandalf at this point. Um, but I do think that the dark wizard is like blue light. Like they don't. I guess they don't have the rights for the blues, so I would say he is probably he checks every single box for one of the two main versions of the blues story. So I would say he must be a blue that just went bad, which is one of these two versions of the story. So I guess like it's probably one dark blue. And as someone in the chat said, Gandalf the Blue, I feel like Gandalf might be taking over this good blue wizard theory side of things. So yeah, hoping it was a blue, but it must be Gandalf by this point.
Yeah.
What about you,
And
Shiv?
isn't it? Yeah, go ahead, Shiv.
Yeah, I think I'm in the boat of it's probably Gandalf, and I wish it was Gandalf, and I wish it was a blue wizard. I was trying to come up with a joke. I couldn't think of one, but like colors, the dark blue wizard, like the color dark blue, and some like light blue. Gandalf the light blue. Who knows? But yeah, I guess it sounds like we'll find out potentially next episode.
Yep, indeed. And you, Uma?
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be at this point it would be really stupid for them if it's not Gandalf. But I was always hoping for a blue because that would have been so much cooler.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And I feel like it's almost ironic in a sense that we go from having one mystery solved after 4 years, and we're getting definitely a new one now afterwards as to who the Dark Wizard is. And is it just me? It looks like, again, I know there's people saying, is it a bit like Saruman? Is he Saruman? But we're getting a little. Do you think we'll get a fight, a duel between the two? Because it looks like that's what's happening here. Look, he's trying to retract there. Do you think we'll see a wizard battle in episode 8? What do you think, Shiv? Would you like
It
to see
certainly
one?
looks like one. I would love to see one. Yeah, especially like because I feel like the Jackson trilogy was more so in the low magic and grand scheme of things. I feel like where like the battle we saw between Gandalf and Saruman was more so like people whipping around, but in this show they kind of go a little bit more grand with the magic. So could get to see some pretty cool stuff if it turns out to be a wizard battle.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. I think it's going to be, regardless, finding out who this man is in episode 8 is going to be quite interesting. And we'll give a quick warning now that I'm sure a lot of people have realized over the last 24 hours, 12 hours, the Rings of Power, like, they've been releasing a lot of spoilers and clips for episode 8. So this, if you want to quickly click off about 5 minutes, but this is an official thing. It's not a leak. It's officially from Amazon. So it's it's not a small thing, but it's something that's quite interesting. So we'll give it a quick 5 seconds before we get into it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. The Rings of Power final exclusive clip. Elendil gets a sword. The most famous weapon in J.R. Tolkien's lore, next Sauron's One Ring, which I don't think so is as famous, but is confirmed that, and also get that. Basically, Elendil gets the sword that's been famous for a lot of reasons. Of course, in the Lord of the Rings, we see it reforged as Anduril, but here it is Narsil, as revealed in the video above. And we actually get the dialogue for the scene here. My son Anarion is amongst them. So we got an Anarion name drop again, and it looks like that's where Elendil is going to be end up going. So yes, quickly, Strider, Anarion name drop, and Elendil is receiving Narsil from Miriel.
Those are some pretty big spoilers. Not gonna lie,
Yeah.
like they're giving us the whole dialogue there. That's wild.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like I quick comment about the promos. I feel like if they could like hold out for like one day with this stuff, like why would
Yeah.
you show it? I don't know. And they're probably just they want the last episode of the season, so I guess it works as well. They did their calculations, so this probably works out. But anyway, that's cool. We saw this sword in season one. We were in this room several times in season one, so we were
Right.
always like, it's there, So it's really cool to see Landil finally get the sword. And another name drop for Anarion, who has been, besides, I think there's only one reference, one
Yeah, he was
single
named.
reference in the
He
movies
was name
of
dropped
the
in
House
one
of.
other episode in a quick conversation, and then that's it.
Yeah. No, but I was going to say, he was mentioned once or twice in the show, but I was going to say, like, besides the one reference in the movies, like that, I think his name dropped just once. Um, it's really cool that we are finally going to see him on screen, because he is actually a huge part of Middle Earth history, of Gondor's history as well. So yeah, hell yeah. As people say, like, Anarion in season 3, looking forward to that a lot, and I hope we get way more of Numenor. I mean, I think we will get way more of Numenor season 3, but yeah, it's going to be really exciting, and it's cool that we are finally seeing some more name drops, and we also got the name drop of Amandil, Elendil's father, in episode 6. So that's also cool. We'll see what if something also comes up from that.
Harry, I think you're muted.
That's twice now, so thank you again. But
Still
yeah,
better than last time.
Yeah, better than last time, because last time I think it was 4. But yep, I think again what I was trying to show here is that it looks like they're trying to go in the whole descendant route, because there's really, in my opinion, similar imagery of how the moment of him receiving it in a time of crisis, and also how it's the way he's holding it. It's like it's almost his destiny. So it looks like they are really playing on this descendant part. Let's see him unwield it here. Phew. There you go. There we go. So that's it. Anybody else want to talk about potentially now? I think even someone in chat said we're going to be probably now seeing Anarion finally in season 3. So who's excited about that? Anybody want to go on that shift? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see that character play out, and I'm glad that Strider mentioned Amandil, because I recently finished the book "The Fall of Numenor" that recently came out, and Amandil's mentioned a lot. I'm like, this show hasn't even touched upon him, but they finally did in episode 6. So I wonder, do you think with like time compression and all that they would show Amandil in this series? Because he's technically around.
Mm-hmm.
That is a great question.
Yeah.
I think it depends a lot on what are the rights that they have, because
Mm.
he does some pretty cool stuff actually. as the fall of Numenor approaches, but I I think we should just temper our expectations really harshly and just make peace with the fact that we will not see him. And then if he is confirmed later on, then we can all just rejoice. But honestly, I'm afraid that it's not very likely, especially given like how many characters there are in Numenor. To add not just Anarion, but also Amandil, even though he should absolutely be there. Yeah, yeah, justice for Amandil. Um, I don't think it's very likely, sadly. But I don't know. Does anybody else think otherwise? Could we see Amandil?
I'm with you, unfortunately, as well. So yeah, anybody else think? If not, then yep, we can wrap up this thing here. So yeah, looks like tomorrow we'll be seeing per Prime Video Elendil getting Narsil, which will be probably with Bear McCreary's music in the background, which of course you can't play here. Probably be quite an epic moment. So yes, very, very excited for that. Getting a lot of hashtag justices for Armando in chat, hashtag justice for Glorfindel.
Hey, I mean, that'd be great if they just brought Glorfindel back just randomly. I mean, why not? You know, it'd be cool to just see him.
Yep, definitely. Definitely.
When I forget in the Legendarium, when does he return?
Who, sorry?
Technically? When does Glorfindel's first slain in
Yeah.
in the Fall of Gondolin, but then he's brought back. Did they say when he was brought back exactly?
Well,
in the Third Age or maybe before?
Yeah.
I think one version had him come in the mid-Second Age after the Forging of the Rings, but that was just one version. I think the other one was the Third Age.
Then
as mentioned.
hashtag Glorfindel confirmed. He'll be in the show.
He kind of he actually there are like several of those drafts and so on, but he kind of arrives at the similar time when the Blue Wizards arrive because the most widespreadly accepted of the versions is that they arrive in the middle of the second, like after the Rings of Force. So he kind of fits with the Blue Wizards. So I think actually, I mean, I don't know if people remember on one of the was it at Gamescom? I think in San Diego, someone asked the showrunners, "Will we see Glorfindel?" And one of them did say, "We might," or something like that. So you know, it
Yep,
could be.
can confirm.
I hope so.
that
I
he
hope
did
so.
say
He
that.
is one of my favorite characters, honestly. So like he's probably my top 5 favorite characters. So yeah, I think it would be really cool if we did get to see him. I think everybody is in unison for that, yeah.
And if we do get to see him, we'll probably get to hear some of his dialogue from Fellowship, in the same way that we heard Bombadil's dialogue from Fellowship. I bet that's my prediction as well.
Speaking about
because not to jump around too much, but I know some people were really conflicted about using Bombadil's dialogue from the Old Forest in that scene, but I still loved seeing it because that's the first time we ever saw Bombadil on screen. So it might, if they use Glorfindel's dialogue from Fellowship, I won't be that upset either, because we'll actually get to see Glorfindel on screen.
But talking about Bombadil, he returns in episode 8 as well. So, Shiv, Uma, what are your thoughts on this? What do you think we'll see? What do you think Bombadil's involvement will be in episode 8? And sorry, quickly before we go on to that, for the poll earlier, 63% thought the Strange would be Gandalf, 32% say Blue Wizard, 4% say Saruman. So Shiv, Uma, go ahead. What do you think? Who do you think? What do you think Tom Bombadil's involvement will be in episode 8? Will it be involved with Strange's name reveal?
Omo, you want to go first?
Yeah, I hope so. Wait, actually, I kind of want the Stranger to find out himself. Like, I think because he was saying, I think it was in episode 1 or 2. Maybe I'm mistaken, but he said it in episode 1 or 2 of this season, where you can't just give someone his name and he knows it, and when he hears it, he's gonna know by itself or something. And maybe it could be something as basic as the Dark Wizards saying something Gandalf, or I don't know, one of the blues, whichever the hell it is, and then he's gonna be like, "Oh shit, that's my name actually." Like, thanks for reminding me. Maybe that's how it's gonna be.
I wonder if it's going to be Olorin.
Could be.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I think if it wasn't all that Grand Elf stuff from the earlier episodes, I would 100% be with you, Jason, on that. But I think if it ends up being Gandalf, it makes more sense if he's, oh, Gandalf, something like that. So, but
Yeah, they did hint at the name so far a couple times. Great Grand Elf or something like that. They said.
Mm-hmm. So yes, indeed. And I think Halbrand's pouch mentions, can we talk about the Antar plot, please? I think guessing now that there's more of us here, we can go back to that quickly. I think this shot makes sense. Try to see you nodding your head. What are your thoughts on what we're going to see in episode 8 regarding Annatar and Celebrimbor?
An epic culmination of this amazing story arc that we have the pleasure of watching in season 2, and hopefully a very, very cool exit for Charles Edwards' amazing Celebrimbor. I remember how, and I was skeptical with the looks-wise casting as well, as many people were, because Charles Edwards doesn't look like the all the depictions of Alan Lee and Ted Naismith and everybody else of Celebrimbor. Nobody imagined him like this, but Charles Edwards absolutely owned this role so hard, and to watch him and Charlie Wickers battle it out and like finish this amazing story arc in episode 8. I'm so looking forward to it. I think they were just enough. I think of everything this show did so far, the Annatar Celebrimbor storyline is by far the best thing from start to finish. So yeah, I'm just looking for a really, really cool conclusion to the arc.
Yep. I totally agree. And moving on for that, because they mentioned talk about the Annatar plot, it doesn't. I guess the Annatar Sauron plot doesn't end there, because as you can see with that look on his face, of course, probably every time he sees Galadriel, I think the one thing we haven't talked about, which is probably the biggest thing of this episode, is this climactic showdown between those two rivals and potentially partners from season 1's partners in crime, so to speak. Sorry. So yes, this moment right here. What is everyone's thoughts on this climactic battle between Galadriel and Sauron? Will Galadriel take the offer up again with Sauron? Jason, what do you think? I'll start off with you and we'll go down.
Well, I mean, no, I don't think she will. But anything goes at this point.
Yeah.
But even just going off of, if I'm just taking the show at face value as a show, I still don't think she does. Do we learn something about Celeborn finally? I don't know. Does he do some sort of, there was all those rumors that he was going to disguise himself as Celeborn at some point. Like, maybe does she see him in a vision or something? But no, I think
tricks he does.
What's that?
Those mind tricks he does, we saw in season
Right.
1 as well.
His mind tricks were excellent, by the way, this season. The way he, how they showed how he tricked Celebrimbor, loved that. I just loved that so much, and it was really great to finally see that. And I think that was like sort of the best way to portray his mind altering powers to a television audience was how they did that. Was brilliant. So now anything goes. I mean, he could do that again. He could try something else. Maybe he's going to do that then to convince the orcs to follow him. I think that the orcs are annoyed with Adar, but I don't think that he's going to have the power to turn them. I might be wrong, but I feel like Adar gets slain and then Sauron jumps in and manipulates them to then follow him. But I don't think it's going to work on Galadriel. That's my.
I think I
That's my
agree
take.
with that as well. I think she won't take up the offer as well. And Shiv, for you, do you think Annatar will get hold of the Nine this season? Because we know at the end of episode 7, they are with Galadriel, but guess who's in a showdown with them here? So could it be potentially where Sauron wins it and she ends up getting hold of the Nine? What do you think?
I am so conflicted with this shot because I keep going back to how is she alone with him? Like, there's a massive battle going on. How does it end up where it's just her and him based on, the framing we're getting? So I think to make this thing end climactic, Sauron has to end up having the rings, and it's got to be. I'm assuming this season's going to end on a sour note. That's my assumption, to leave it a good cliffhanger for season 3. But so yeah, long story short, I think he's going to get him. I think he's going to get the 9.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I agree. What do you think, Umo?
I mean, I don't want him to, because my heart says no, but my mind says yes. So I'm just gonna say that he's gonna get them. Because in the last season, in this season, she got a lot of crap, to not use another words, Galadriel, and she's been going on a better tone, so to speak. But yeah, this is not looking too good for her right now.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Fair enough. And as Elendil mentions, if you check, Galadriel is also clearly wearing Nenya as well. And of course, as N100 mentioned, didn't Adar also have Morgoth's crown? So it looks like something might be happening to Adar, and all these relics and everything, all these powerful objects are just together, as Shiv mentions, randomly on a mountainside while the whole battle is happening. So
Yeah.
again, how that ends up.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of the Hobbit movie. when Thorin is all alone battling the
Adzog.
big Azog, yeah. Kind of gives me the same vibe, which, not necessarily everyone's favorite movie, but it gives me that vibe. Like, why the heck were they alone? Same thing.
Yeah. I think that's a good comparison. I totally missed out on that. But yeah, it does feel kind of like this final tail end of the battle, like an epilogue even of sorts. But I do feel like I have to say, what I said before, trying to hype up everything, but I feel like I'm again torn on this kind of marketing, like, to show us that this is happening. It kind of takes it away, but I guess there's probably some big twist to the whole scene. So I guess it makes sense that they would share this with us. But I just want to, like, give a shout out to Adar, as some people are saying in the comments as well. I mean, he's been such a great character, and I'm excited but also afraid of the next episode, because he was probably one of my he is in my top 3 favorite characters of the show for sure. And yeah, it's a lot of worrying things concerning Hadar, just in this one frame that we just had of Galadriel with
Oh yeah.
Adar.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think we mentioned it earlier that that's going to end up being something that, hopefully, fingers crossed right now, doesn't come to fruition. But so yeah, Mike mentions, Harry, what is your favorite episode of the show so far, including episode 8? Well, including my 2, I'll say 2 would be episode 5 and probably episode 8, I think, as well. So yeah, I think it does deliver for the season. So that is one thing I would say for that. So yeah, hopefully that is quite exciting for all. So yeah, great stuff there. And I think one final thing we haven't mentioned. Does anybody have anything before we move on?
Honestly, just hoping for a great and hopefully not very painful exit for Adar.
Yeah, and I will say, our prediction, I think,
If
came
the exit is
true
coming. Yeah.
last week. is that we predicted that it would be a pretty awesome battle, and an awesome battle on screen, and they came through. I mean, they really came through with that. They did a great job, and it was a really great piece of cinematic, even though it's on technically on the small screen. I mean, they knocked it out of the park with that battle. So really looking forward to see what they're going to do in next episode.
And this is one final thing, is even the person on screen here, when we mentioned about him and what's going to be happening with him. Any thoughts?
I want to hear Olm's thoughts on Elrond. If Olm was there.
Yeah, I'm here. I think seeing the state that Elrond is in right now, he's not too keen on continuing to fight, if you follow the lore, he's gonna establish a certain elven, I'm not gonna say kingdom. I don't know if I should use the word kingdom, because it's not really that big of a place. But I think he's gonna be like, okay, I've had my taste of war, and I don't like it. I like reading books and writing poems and chasing my future mother-in-law. So maybe he's just tired of it, and he wants to do something new, and therefore he establishes, like I said, a certain realm, without spoiling for the ones that don't know.
And leading on to that, as you quite rightly hinted there, does anybody think we will in some way see the foundation of Imladris? Because it is quite clear that after the battle, he then, of course, takes the survivors and they go to the valley, and then, of course, the rest is history. So, Jason, Strider, Shiv, anybody think we'll potentially see a hint or even see this happen? Jason,
I think we'll see him maybe walking with the survivors to a valley, and that conclusion of that storyline would, fade to black there. I don't think we'll see him. I don't think we'll see any groundbreaking ceremonies or anything like that. They've got a lot to cover in that hour and 5 minutes.
I think
that's totally fair.
If there is an Amazon higher up executive with any power to deal with this, please, for the love of all the Valar, give more screen time so we can have some time jumps and see some proper development of everything. Because I was thinking, like, I'm kind of afraid that we might see Imladris or Rivendell being built kind of off screen. I don't know. I think at some point there will have to be a big time jump.
Yeah.
Between one of the seasons, because to get to Gondor and Arnor being founded, like, there has to be some kind of a time jump. But Imladris will have to be built earlier, presumably. So like in the next couple of episodes, including some early episodes of season 3. So like we need more screen time for everything to like properly savor everything that's happening on screen. And I feel like I hope that they do not rush the founding of Imladris. I hope it's built throughout the whole next season, for example, because I think actually that might even make sense, because I feel like next season will probably will heavily shift towards Númenor. So there will probably be room for Imladris to be built throughout season 3, perhaps. That's kind of my hope. I think maybe we'll get some kind of hint for it at the end of next episode, but I feel like it's going to be strictly a season 3 thing, and hopefully it goes throughout the season.
Yeah, and remember, Númenóreans live hundreds and hundreds of years. So if there is a time jump, that kind of makes a lot of sense. you could jump 50 years, 100 years, and then that would make more sense to the average viewer of the kingdoms that have been founded and the cities that have been built.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what about Theo though?
Well, then that gives him enough time to become the Witch King. Mhm.
That is a good point.
Yes.
Both
Yep.
very good points. Yeah, that tie very, very well together.
And Charles makes a
if-
further good point. We have to remember it's the value of Imladris, and Rivendell is built upon it. So we could see maybe the valley without any structure or buildings as of yet.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that could be a
That's
good
true.
alternative. But sorry, go ahead, Jason.
Oh, I was just going to say, in 2 more, if unfortunately, if it sticks to the every 2 years we get 8 episodes plan, in 2 more years, the actor who plays Theo will probably be full grown, so it would make more sense. Slap a beard on him.
Definitely. We'll see how that goes. And for the final discussion of this episode, what about Pelagi? Will we see Isildur? Because of course, as I pull up on screen, what do you guys think? We've got the Astrid whole Isildur dilemma still left to go. Anybody have any thoughts or opinions on this and how that will end up happening? Astrid,
Well, I think we
thought as
saw-
well.
I feel like
Didn't
she must have a hot take for this. I'm kind of feeling something brewing.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
Well,
get another kiss. Sorry.
There we go.
I thought we saw marketing materials of scenes with Estrid and him. So like that
Yeah,
hasn't
we
been
did.
so I think we are gonna get them. I don't know. I don't know if I just ignore red flags, but I have a good feeling about her. Maybe she'll be all right and treat him well. And he'll win her over. But I also ignore red flags, so maybe don't follow that idea.
Always check for red flags in women. It's just a joke.
I mean,
But,
in everybody, honestly, but
Everybody.
Yes.
Isildur is in a vulnerable state, I guess, and can you blame him? She has been quite charming. There was a lot of sparks going on, so yeah, who knows what he'll do with all those red flags. But there is the question of her fiance, or her betrothed. Sorry, fiance doesn't. The word doesn't exist in Middle Earth. So yeah, I think that's gonna. I'm not sure how they can resolve this rom-com triangle over there. That's gonna be
Strider, let me
interesting to see.
just use a football reference for you, like soccer for the American ones. It's not because there's a goalkeeper that you can't score. Okay, like just put that out there. Okay, you can
It's in
still score.
offside, my dude.
It's not offside, all right. But in all seriousness, I think maybe it's a hot take or whatever, but I think the Isildur storyline this season has been extremely like forgetful, because as soon as Arondir moves towards Eregion, it's empty. I mean, we haven't seen him for what, 2 episodes or 3 maybe at this point. And so unless Elendil is gonna start looking for him actively and stuff, it's just going to be, Isildur and Astrid or whatever she's called, and you're gonna be a bit bored about it unless there's like some development or whatever.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. It is kind of, that whole storyline is sort of the least stakes storyline, and is sort of look, we didn't start talking about it till an hour in, so like clearly like it's the thing that we're excited about the least, but would love to see where it goes still.
Yep. I agree with all that. I think I wanted, though, at the same time, to do a little connection. 'Cause I think someone mentioned something about editing. So look, I feel so much to be left on the editing floor this season. Wish they would have showed more episodes. And then someone before that, I believe, mentioned that they had pretty much forgotten about this storyline. So I feel like, yeah, there could have been so much more development. Yeah, like right here, straight away afterwards, I forgot about them. So I think that is a link to the editing, and hopefully into season 3, they will have more of a, at least see that for the first seasons, the editing side of things with the amount of storyline and eat how much each person is getting hasn't been worked. And this Elendil said, funnily enough, Isildur stayed in mod for like 75% of the season. So
Is it me, or is like the Isildur storyline just a copy paste of what the Arondir storyline was for season 1? Like they have this urge of having some romance in the story, which is like fair enough. But since the actress that played Bronwyn dips out of the TV show, they're like, guys, we kind of still need some romance in this. Otherwise, it's a sausage fest. So let's just add some people kissing. You know, D is probably team for it. So who knows?
Oh God! Don't label me in this.
fair enough.
I mean,
fair
I think we were always bound to see Isildur getting into a relationship with someone, because he has to have at least one son by the end of the show that he will name Valandil. So you know, I think it was always supposed to be there, and I would say I think you're kind of right, but like in a reverse, we had to have Arondir and Bronwyn in season 1 while we were waiting for Isildur to come to this point where his writers wanted him to have a relationship. I think also it's going to be I think interesting because it's kind of adjacent to this, like what they will do with Anarion, because also he is supposed to also get married and have children as well. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see how much of the romance will we witness on screen in the coming seasons, because there's a lot of kids that need to be set up for the future.
Definitely, definitely. And I guess I think that's what a lot of this episode is going to be, is setting up for the future. Of course, as you mentioned, Strider with Anardion, etc. So yes, good point there. And I think, yep, Mr. TNT mentioned that this episode is 15 plus. So does that maybe mean that we could potentially see a bit more of this? And potentially what's going to happen to this unlucky fellow at the bottom? But I think that's a good place to leave it. And I think, yes, it's been a long roller coaster. These last 8 episodes, we've happily that for the episode 8 prediction, we've had so many people on. And thanks to everyone in the live chat and everyone who's been contributed today. We've had a lot of interaction, engagement. The chat's been great as always. And yes, first of all, and Jason, thank you. What are you most looking forward to in episode 8 then? You excited?
Me? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I am. I am really excited. So like everything we discussed, I can't wait to see how it's all shown and what they can show and what they can't, considering Celebrim banner and all of that. But yeah, really satisfied with this season and
wow.
For
Definitely
happy.
And Chaldean mentions, Brimbor has an arrow in him. So it looks like he's getting tormented more than just. He has 2 arrows in him. So is it like where has someone been doing like target practice with him or something? Like, where he's not giving up the location of the 3 or the 9, so to speak. So he's torturing him. Do you think this is potentially what we're getting to see here, which would be, again, Celebanna? But it looks like it's gonna be quite a lot of torture, which is, the shame to see. But yes, Jason, thank you for your thoughts right there. Exciting. Strider Shiv, really excited as well. Thoughts on thank you for coming on, and yep, your thoughts on what you're most excited to see in this next episode.
Strider, you want to go first?
I mean, yeah, I'll just kind of repeat what I said before. I hope Adar somehow lives, but I don't think, judging by everything we've seen so far, I don't think he's long for this world. So I hope that him and Celebrimbor, have a satisfying story arc and closure. And yeah, just look forward to finishing a really cool Rings of Power season, which is the first time I can say this so far, because I don't think I ever said it for season 1, but season 2 has been great, and it's cool that we're gonna have a really cool ending to it.
Yeah, definitely. Great to hear that. Shiv, you?
Yeah, echoing the same. It sounds like since you said that episode 8's one of your favorites, that's got me pretty excited. So it sounds like they're going to conclude it in a way that's satisfying. So that's great. For complaints, the only thing I have is maybe for season 3, the marketing department could leave some surprises. It's kind of ironic. Season 1, everyone was complaining because everything was a surprise. Now I feel like season 2, we had little surprises. So maybe we'll meet in the middle for season 3. Happy medium. But yeah, really excited for this episode. And I'm really sad that we're probably going to have to wait a year or two for the
Mhm.
next season.
Yeah. I agree with all that as well. Finally, Ulmo, thanks for coming on, and of course for being here since the start.
Thank you, and thanks everyone in the chat for being here.
Yeah, what are you most looking forward to for episode 8?
I hope that we get another kiss. No, I'm joking. I think I want the series to wrap up, but still give us like enough to be excited for season 3. So like enough climax to keep up the expectations, sorry, and the hype for season 3, but still give us enough closure to be able to be happy with what we had so far.
Yep, fair enough. I agree. Yeah, having that to be excited again, even though it's gonna be a long wait to get ready, amped up for season 3 is important, and season 2, episode 8 has to, of course, deliver that. That's a very good point. And I think there's a lot of talk about the Balrog and everything happening in here. I know we're about to wrap up, but yes, all I'm gonna say is episode 8, the opening is insane. Like it is very good. So yeah, I think you should be be excited for that. Thank you everyone in the live chat. Thank you everyone on Twitter, watching on Twitter, on YouTube as well. And yes, appreciate that. And we will see you guys, or Shiv and everyone, see you on Friday for the episode 8 reaction panel. And then Strider and Co will join you on Sunday for the lore deep dive and breakdown panel. So yes, we've got everything covered over from